Hello, everybody, and welcome back to episode 143 of the Everything Moto Racing podcast. I hope you've had a fantastic week. As always, I'm joined by Cameron and Lauren. We've got a full house.
Hey-o, full house. Let's
Squad goals.
Wow. To who? Yeah.
For somebody.
Yeah. Well,
it's once again, firstly, it's race week finally.
Finally. It's been a
Assen,
long time coming.
The Cathedral of Speed.
I love Assen. This felt like a very long 3 weeks. I kind of...
Yes.
I was thinking back, like, the last race was Mugello, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels so long ago.
It's nearly a month ago, that's why.
Yeah, but like, it feels so much longer than that. I don't know. It's because there was a cancellation, right? Was it Kazakhstan or something?
Yeah.
That'll be it. But still, it feels longer than 3 weeks. And we've had World Superbikes in the gap. And it's still...
And the TT.
And the
PSP.
Exactly. Right, maybe that's it, actually. Maybe so much has happened in, like...
Moto America.
Yeah. Maybe
I think that's what's made it feel even longer, because we've had like a million other things going on
and
too.
And silly season has just absolutely popped off as
Yeah.
well.
True. Oh yeah, because like Marquez hadn't been confirmed or anything before.
Like
Mugello.
everything's confirmed now.
Yeah.
All the big ones anyway. Like I don't see anything topping.
Nah,
Mark
not really.
This year's silly season has been nuts.
Yeah.
Rather silly. Yep.
And we had official confirmation that Marco Bezzecchi, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Someone can tell me. I'll say Bezzecchi. Marco Bezzecchi has been officially confirmed at Aprilia, probably the worst kept secret in the world. I mean, you would say that, to be fair. I speculated that it'd be Digia about 2 weeks ago on the pod, and it's gone to Bez instead, which I'm not mad about because of his results last year. Was he third? I think he finished up.
Yeah,
in the end, by the end of it.
I mean, he was third in the championship
Multiple
last
wins.
year.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not mad about it. Bez or Digia, I think Bez is the stronger rider. He's struggling with the Ducati this year because they swapped away the engine brakes. The engine braking works, and that's obviously caused some issues for him. Basically, it's completely opposite to 2022 bike, and then the 2024 bike is the same as the 22. So all the GP23 riders are a bit of a disadvantage because of that. But to see Bez on the Aprilia with Jorge Martin, wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm a bit like, I really sort of hoped that Digia would get it, but fully based on this year alone. Like when you compare the two MotoGP careers, obviously Bez is the better option to go with, but I think Digia's just been really, really good recently, and I sort of thought, like, what a story that would have been to, being pretty much out of a seat at the end of the season to then getting factory squad status would be really cool. But yeah, not to be, but I think wanting an Italian rider on an Italian bike, I mean, it makes sense that they decided to go with Marco Bezzecchi in the end. I think him and Jorge are a good mix, and I could see them working well together. I think it's interesting that they've decided to go with two new riders completely, or they've sort of been forced into.
It's a big risk.
Yeah,
I think,
to going
that's
in
more like
with
it.
two riders who, don't fully know what it's like to be in a factory squad. It means a little bit more. It's worth a little bit more, I suppose. So that's going to be very, very interesting next year to see how the dynamics work, and then also see how the results play out too. Because with Elise and Maverick at the minute, we sort of know what to expect, but they're really starting with a clean slate next year, and it's going to be one of the most exciting pairings, I think, on the grid.
Yeah, with two of the most competitive riders at the moment on the grid, Aprilia have absolutely played a blinder. They obviously went for Fabio Quartararo, didn't work out, but I think they've maybe recuperated that loss.
Oh, for sure.
And maybe even actually surpassed that loss thanks to signing two top riders, because realistically, their budget would have only covered one So after Fabio Quartararo, they wouldn't have been able to cover another top rider. You know, they would have to have produced or promoted, a potentially younger rider, a rider willing to not be as paid as much because of that. Whereas, because they've got Bez and Martin, they can both demand a wage that's not as high as Fabio, but still high enough to justify them as a factory rider and high enough to entice them to come over and ride for Aprilia. Because at the end of the day, every rider wants to be a factory rider and a factory status. I mean, Luca Marini has pretty much given up his career to be a factory Honda rider. So many riders do it. I mean, Cal Crutchlow gave up at Tech 3 to be a factory Ducati rider when the Ducati was really struggling. Plenty of riders who go back have given that up. I mean, Marc Marquez obviously is now going to be factory next year again, after taking a step down to a satellite team. But the factory is where you want to be at. And if you're Bezzecchi or you're Jorge Martin and Aprilia come knocking, and Aprilia who need that extra 2%, and you're a rider who could probably give them 3%, then you're gonna accept it. Especially if you can work with another Ducati rider who has been successful in the Ducati, knows how the Ducati works, and you can then work with them to then make that bike work as well as it did on Ducati, using the knowledge that you both know about how Ducati is and how to win on the Ducati.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's what I was about to say, and I think is what makes this next step for Aprilia so crucial and could take them to the next level. Because obviously they've worked with really Aleix for years to bring them into sort of competitive status, possibly have achieved more than they rightfully should have, given, what was at their disposal. And now they've got access to two Ducati riders. They've been on the Ducatis for years. Martin's coming from the latest spec, really, and can now say, okay, this is now what's missing from the bike for that extra 1 or 2%. And then on top of that, you've also got a rider who's, quicker, shall we say, than Aleix and Vinales. And Bez on his day as well is quicker than them. So I think it is the next 1 or 2 or 3% that Aprilia is maybe missing to actually have them consistently on the podium. So it's an interesting prospect, an exciting one. I think they're going to do well. I think they're going to do really well. I can't really call which one of them would be sort of the number one rider, really. I mean, from the start of the season, you'd say Martin's going to be the number one rider. But I don't know who's going to outperform the other, really, because obviously last year, Bez outperformed. No, actually, he didn't outperform Martin, did he? By the end of it. But it was
At
close.
the start, he did, yeah.
At the start, he did. Yeah. So, I mean, really, it's one of those things where if the bike gels with Bez more than it does Martin, then the results will reflect that to begin with. So, it's got to be exciting. It's going to be a great season next year. Or Marc Marquez will run away with it on a GP25. Who knows? Who knows what will happen?
Yeah, there is a big chance that that's going to happen. The only concern I have with both of these guys going to Aprilia is the thing that we've been talking about in the last few podcasts, is the fact that we've never seen them on a different manufacturer within MotoGP. So we are really stepping into the unknown, seeing the two of them going to Aprilia. Is Ducati making them better than what they are? That sounds so harsh to say, but that is going to be the big test to prove their worth really in MotoGP, I think, and to prove if they're championship contenders outside of being on the best bike on the grid.
Yeah.
To counter at that point, because we have said that quite a lot.
Yeah.
And, you look at riders like Didier and stuff like that, whose junior careers haven't been exceptional. They've won a few races and things like that, but they've not been standout riders. You look at Bezzecchi and Martin. Yeah, I'm going to switch between Bezzecchi and Bezzecchi for his podcast, because why not? But you look at their junior careers, and it's hilarious I mentioned Didier, because in 2018, Jorge Martin was a Moto3 world champion. Fabio Didier was second, hilariously. And then it was Bezzecchi third. Bezzecchi was knocked off in the last few races, which obviously meant that he didn't finish as high as he should have. Then you go to Moto2. Jorge Martin was pretty impressive. I don't think he ever gelled too much because he was riding the KTM chassis for the first year, and then that got abandoned. And then he hopped on the Kalex and was pretty good in the Kalex, to be fair, but I think he got injured again, which then caused issues. Whereas Bezzecchi fought for the title in 2020 and was 5th, I believe, overall in his first season on that bike. No, it wasn't. He was 4th overall in the first season on that bike in 2020 because he rode the KTM the year prior. And then fought for the championship the year after as well and was very good in Moto2. Whereas we go back to Didier won a few races in Moto2 but was in Moto2 for quite a while.
Yeah.
It took him a few different teams as well to actually finally get a promotion into MotoGP, and it took a Grassini deal of we'll put you in MotoGP next year if you can win a race this year deal to get him up, not a you're going to fight for the championship and earn your spot to MotoGP, which, yeah, he did earn it. He's proven he belongs in MotoGP and he's been exceptional. And we shouldn't look at a junior career of a rider as the exact reason or the whole proof of the pudding of why they should be in MotoGP, because Fabio Quartararo is a perfect example of a rider who didn't have the best junior career barring 2013 and 2014 and yet still has come into MotoGP and won a championship. But I think that using the stats that they have in Moto3 and Moto2 to back them up, I think that their talent excels or goes beyond what the Ducati is giving them. And I think a step over to Aprilia will, yes, it'll expose them a little bit because they've never ridden a different bike in MotoGP, the pair of them. And yes, it will take away maybe the little advantage Ducati give them. But I think the talent they have should, once they adapt to the bikes and maybe make the bikes more of their own using the talent and skills that they've got, I think that will then over counteract, shall we say, the deficit that they will have by switching from Ducati to Aprilia.
Yeah, I mean,
that's my point.
Valid point. I wondered where you were going
long-winded
there.
One there, but
it took you a while to get to where you needed to be there. But yeah, a valid point. I think then I'll throw another curveball in there that, yes, they're both very talented riders. The other thing would be the fact that it's sort of come to light that the Aprilia is a bit unreliable. That 1 week it could be the best bike on the grid, the fastest bike, and then the next week, whether it be bike or rider, we're not sure, it's down in 13th place. So that'll be interesting to see if they can counteract that as well, or well, it probably will take them a few races to sort of get used to it and get settled and be consistent. But the inconsistencies that we've seen from Aprilia, are they going to be able to iron that out as well?
Well, thinking about that, and you are very right, of course, they've also got potentially the most inconsistent rider in MotoGP history on it in Maverick Vinales, who, if his cereal isn't the right temperature in the morning, he's finishing 14th. I mean, he's not doing well.
Soggy cereal is not something to joke about.
Especially if it is not the right temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
But you know what I mean in terms of the fact that he's so meticulous and...
Yeah, it's got to be right. It's got to be perfect.
Yeah, and Aleix is a very good rider. He's won 3 races, and we're not going to take... I'm not personally not going to take anything away from Aleix.
Neither am I.
I'd like to see you try.
Yeah, but I said we, and I didn't want to speak for you two.
No, you can include me in your we.
Because
I was going to say you don't speak for me, but I mean you can.
Yeah, that's why I said. That's why I said we, and then said I.
Okay.
Well, I think on the point you're about to make, you can include me.
Okay.
Okay.
I basically Aleix isn't the most talented rider on the grid, and that can then be a reason as well why the Aprilia is so inconsistent. And yes, it does have a lot of technical issues as well. We've seen Raul Fernandez, we've seen Vinales, we've seen Aleix, we've seen Oliveira, all have technical issues over the last 2 years. The amount of times that you've seen, the ride HUD devices mess up on the bikes. Vinales at Sachsenring last year got stuck on. Aleix has had it as well.
Portimao.
And you are right. Yeah, exactly. And their bikes are very inconsistent, but I think it could potentially be down to the riders as well.
It's like they keep saying, it's a whole complete package, really, isn't it? It's rider and bike. And I think next year, Aprilia are putting themselves at least in a position where the rider is not going to be an issue.
Yeah.
And if they can get it together and get the bike working under the riders and everyone's happy, then they're going to be fast. And we could see consistent podiums. But then Ducati aren't going to make it easy. I don't think KTM are going to make it particularly easy either. There's only 3 spots, and that's, 10, 12 bikes that I've just named in those 2 manufacturers there. So the work is cut out, but I think they're giving themselves a real good chance with the riders they've signed, is what I'm saying. That's my point.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I think they've managed to bring it back a bit. I was worried initially when they'd signed Jorge Martin. You've got Elise retiring with plans on test riding for another team, and then Maverick Vinales announces that he's leaving. I was worried that they'd left themselves vulnerable and they'd maybe left themselves with not that many options. And I was worried that maybe they would have to move up a rider from, say, Trackhouse, or bring someone in that maybe wasn't fully ready for that role, but they've managed to snap up Marco Bezzecchi, I think, in perfect timing. I think in general it's all a bit too early in the season to really be having these conversations, but
yeah,
all in all, Bezzecchi has proved that he can be at the front, so I think they've done really, really well, and they've definitely ironed out a problem that they could have had they have left it any longer to sign their second rider.
100%. It's going to be interesting next year. I think the KTM situation is very interesting as well, because they did offer Martin more money than Aprilia to come ride for KTM, and seeing Vinales go to KTM as well is quite shocking, and Bastianini not as shocking. The most shocking thing, I think, is the fact that Ducati have lost 3 of their star riders.
Yeah.
Because they wanted Marc Marquez.
Ducati could be the ones in sort of muddy water next year. I doubt it, in the sense of, like, their bike is the best bike on the grid. I can't see them taking that much of a step back and everyone else taking that much of a step forward. But they have left themselves vulnerable, and it's going to be interesting to see who fills up the Ducati seats. And obviously there's still question marks over what is happening with Pramac and stuff like that, which is good because we'll have nothing to talk about over the summer break if everything else keeps getting decided. But as it stands, I'd be worried if I was Ducati, because outside of the factory team, it's not looking good.
No, it's not. And yeah.
So, well, I mean, I was just like, but I think I agree in as much as the non-factory Ducati teams now are definitely not as strong as they have been this year and the previous years. But I think that possibly is what Ducati maybe I've kind of wanted, because they've had a lot of pressure over the last few years to be letting these young, fast riders into the factory team, and they've only got 2 seats. Do you know what I mean? And they've almost been a victim of their own success in that way. And there's just been this sort of rebalance of power now to, like, this is the team. These are the 2-star riders. And you have to say that it's going to be hard to ignore either Pecco or Marc Marquez next year, again, for a title. And like, this was just, it was almost an inevitable, really, because you couldn't have riders of this caliber in 3 satellite teams all performing really, really well, and in any other team likely warranting a factory ride and just not getting it year after year. Couldn't happen. So this was inevitable, and it's just a sort of rebalance that I think is probably actually going to take a bit of pressure off of the team bosses, I think, because there's no sort of logical handful of successors to Pecco and Marc Marquez now, in my opinion. So yeah, I think it'll work. I think, like, Ducati are still favorites for sure, but I think it's just one team is a favorite now for the title rather than 2.
Well, the rumors are that Furman will probably go to... This is Pramac out the equation. Pramac not happening. Frankie over to VR46.
Yep.
And then potentially Furman at Grassini. Jack Miller's also rumoured to be going to Grassini. So, but again, you hear a lot of stuff, and sometimes it's tosh and sometimes it's true, and you just don't know. But what I like is the fact that Ducati don't hold all the power anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Ducati have held all the power for so long now, and they've had, all the top riders in all their teams. They've had Pramac as a massive force, being able to offer them, the same bikes as a factory squad, and Ducati 1, 2, 3, 4, 5s are not uncommon. Whereas now, having, like with a dandelion and you blow it and all the seeds disperse, seeing those riders now disperse into the other team.
That's very poetic.
Wow.
I fully understand, but
yeah, thank you.
Did not expect that on a Monday night. Goodness me.
But seeing, those riders disperse into the factory Aprilia and the KTM factory team with obviously Pedro Costa, who's not a Ducati rider, but Pedro going up and allowing Anea to pair up with Vinales in the satellite, should we say, KTM squad, means that we've still got all those top riders, but they're all on different bikes and they're all ready to give Ducati a bit of a headache. Jorge Martin will have a vendetta against Ducati.
Oh, yeah.
Enea Bastianini will have a vendetta against Ducati. Bezzecchi might feel a bit hard done by because he felt like last year was saying, I want to be in red kind of thing. And obviously he's not really performed well enough to warrant that now. But there will be a bit of a vendetta, I think, against Ducati. And these riders will be more motivated than ever to come and topple the Ducati tower down. And it's going to be so interesting to watch, especially because all 4 KTM riders will be on the same bike. And it's not Stefan. I always get them mixed up. It's Pit Byra from KTM. He's the motorsports director. Has basically just said that they've struggled with signing top riders because of the Gas branding. They know it's a KTM, but it's got a Gas logo on it.
Yeah.
So, and people have gone, what's the difference between the bikes? So he's decided to have all 4 bikes as a Red Bull KTM bike. And so they're going to operate as a 4-bike team next year and not over the 2 teams. And there will not be a number 1 rider from the get-go.
It sounds like communism.
Yeah.
How have they been allowed to do that then?
Gas, shall we say, or Tech 3 have a factory status because KTM applied for it and got it from Dorna. So it won't actually be a 4-bike team. There will still be separate garages, and it still will be Tech 3 riders and KTM riders,
the bikes look
satellite
different.
riders.
Will it be like
the sponsor, like ELF, might be on one, and then it'll be KTM's own.
It'll be like Moto 3, where there's the IO squad and the Tech 3 squad.
Oh,
but they look identical.
Basically. Yeah, pretty much. It'd be different, like sponsors, like I said, Tech 3 have a long-term deal with ELF, whereas KTM will use Motor X. There'll be like different things that you can see.
Got you.
One will have Hervé Poncharal and the other won't.
Yeah, and although they are 2 different teams with 2 different team managers and things like that, KTM want to run it as a full 4-bike umbrella. And like I said, they're not going to have it as your number 1 rider, your number 2 rider. What he has said is, Stefan, is it Pit? Yeah, Pit Byra, sorry, has
Stop
said...
calling him Stefan.
It's because it's Byra Pirate. It's Pit Byra has said, and I quote, "The team captain will be the number 1 riding in the standings from our group of 4 riders. Then number 2, then number 3. It will not be the classic situation where one garage is a factory team and the other is a satellite team, and the factory team get it first. Meaning, if you're the fastest rider of the 4, you will get priority, even if you're in the Tech 3 squad."
Is that just a way of saying, look, Pedro's going to get everything, but don't get mad about it, sort of thing?
Maybe, but they basically want to have all 4 riders on a level pegging to motivate them all to perform as well as they can with the right package underneath them. He's even gone as far as saying about Vinales, because he knows and acknowledged the fact that Vinales isn't, the most consistent guy. And he even said, this is ultimotogp.com, he said, for him, about Vinales, the human side and feeling at home with good surroundings is super important, and we all know he can do miracles. But we also know that if he doesn't feel comfortable, he isn't just going back 1 or 2 positions, it goes really wrong. So I think we have good ideas and good people in the team to work together with him. If he wakes up in the morning and is sure he will win the GP on that day, he's almost unbeatable.
That's it's an interesting bit of psychology to throw out to a rider that you've just signed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we have words that are going to play in the man's head on the first weekend, his first stepping on that bike. That's interesting. Like, I think the ethos is good, but like, you gotta also play your PR smart as well if you're gonna try and run your team differently.
I think because Pit Byra is so successful across two wheels, from dirt to tarmac to everything, I think he will know exactly what to feed Vinales in terms of, like words of appraisal and things like that, to give him everything he needs to excel. He is, Pit Byra has influenced riders and turned them into world champions who were like Tony Caroli, for example, who, got nurtured all the way through to being a 9-time world champion, and then Cooper Webb, who stepped into KTM over in the Supercross style of things from Yamaha and goes to win a championship for them. Chase Sexton as well has excelled on a KTM, and they're all riders who have been good before, but under KTM have just been able to flourish and just really excel. I mean, obviously Cooper Webb did leave KTM after a bit, but KTM have a history of success with pretty much every rider they put on the bike, and I don't see the Vinales pairing failing.
He knows what temperature Maverick likes his cereal.
He knows.
That's it.
Yeah.
Good analogy.
There you go. Just to bring this all together again.
Neatly to a close. Lovely.
Yeah. That's it. He knows how to manage riders in a way to get the best out of them. And I think Vinales, losing Aleix for Vinales was a bitter pill to swallow, because then it goes from having his body on the other side of the garage, who makes him feel a bit more calm and collected, to then having Jorge Martin there, which upsets the rhythm in the garage a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Whereas if you, 100%. Whereas if you go over to KTM, where it's more of a family vibe again, like a lot more of a family vibe, I think, in KTM. They're savage and they're brutal and they're ruthless, of course. But I think, they've tossed out Jack and Augusto after 2 years. You've seen the treatment of riders.
I don't know if you can call that a family vibe.
No,
well,
but
some families.
in the garage. Yeah, in the garage. The vibes in the garage, in terms of what KTM, the atmosphere that they give their riders, will help Vinales excel because of that. You see the stuff they do for Jack, giving him like a little motorbike for his daughter and all that stuff. And they do things like that you don't see, and I think that will just help Vinales to feel more settled in a squad under Hervé as well, who's like the nicest guy in the paddock.
Yeah, I think Maverick has taken control this time, because when he was at Yamaha, Fabio came in and he tried to sort of stamp his authority as number one, and then that didn't happen as Fabio started outperforming him, basically. Then obviously the fallout happened. He's gone to Aprilia, he's found his home there, and it worked. So now I think he's trying to get ahead of the curve and sort of go, right, well, Aleix isn't going to be there anymore. I'm probably not going to get on with Jorge Martin. I don't like that they didn't tell me that they're signing him. Don't like how that's all come about. So I'm going to take matters into my own hand and sort something out and go and see what's on the table here, and taking the offer from KTM. And he's in control of the situation. He's going to go in comfortable, and he's put himself in this environment, is how I'm seeing it, and how he's going to hopefully try and be more consistent and a faster and better rider. And obviously if KTM has all that on the table, sort of saying that there isn't going to be a number one, you're getting the full spec, you're getting everything, like they're throwing the kitchen sink at all 4 riders, he's going to go, yeah, I'm ahead of the curve here, I've thought about this, and I'm comfortable in this environment. And then obviously with the things that Pitt has said, he understands Maverick and understands how he works and knows that things need to be exact. So yeah, I think it was a really, really smart move in that sense from Maverick, and then from KTM obviously to go, yeah, we'll take you, no problem.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting, I think. And Ducati, like we said earlier, it's a shock to the Ducati system losing 3 of the top riders. And then it's how they bounce back, knowing that 2 riders are on the Aprilias next year and know exactly how those Ducatis tick. And all their strengths and all their weaknesses, and how they can then use Aprilia to their advantage to then beat Ducati using what Aprilia already have in their locker as a strength that might actually be better than the Ducati.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's the first time in a while we've had a handful of riders that you know can win a race, and you would put money on them winning a race, probably multiple races next year, and they're not on Ducatis. First time that's been the case in a while, off the top of my head. So it's going to be really interesting. We know that Pedro, with full factory support and everything, is going to be a threat as well. So yeah, like you're saying, Ducati's kind of concentrated their firepower into the factory team. Likely, a stronger team than this year, but they've got more competition next year. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a good time.
Can't wait.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know what else looked like it was a good time?
What?
The Monster Energy track day in Silverstone last week.
Brev. Yeah, it did. What?
It looked epic.
How did I not know that was happening? I just started seeing all these photos everywhere.
Yeah.
And then a selfie that was like that selfie that broke the Oscars sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Or broke the internet, that Oscars selfie.
Yeah,
It was like that kind of thing, but for bike racing. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is happening? Why is...
My mate who works for Yamaha didn't even know it was going on.
What?
That's how exclusive it was. A few journalists like Matt Oxley were down there.
Yeah, like Susie Perry and all. So.
Yeah, because she interviewed Valley, didn't she? But the names that were there,
Couldn't handle it.
crazy. I'm gonna pick out the names.
I mean,
now.
Rory Skinner was there.
Yeah.
On the two-stroke 250.
That's how he was allowed in. They're like, well, what are you going to bring? He's like, I could bring the 250 if you want.
Yeah.
Like, okay, then, go on.
You even have Mark Webber riding, who's he's still sponsored by Red Bull. He's still a Red Bull affiliated person because he doesn't drive anymore. And I don't know if you saw on his social media post, he was like, big thank you to everybody, Yamaha, Alpine Stars, and the promoter or the host of the event with a wink on there. Obviously, you can't mention.
Sponsor politics is so lame. Really is.
So, do you want to hear a list of riders that were there, of ones that I can kind of pick out?
Go on then.
So we had John Hopkins, Alvaro Bautista was there, Cal Crutchlow, Anna Carrasco, Nicola Balega, Fabio Digia, Fabio Quartararo, Andrea Locatelli, Jonathan Ray, what's his name? John McGuinness, Alex Rins, Franco Morbidelli, Francesco Bagnaia, Rory Skinner. What are you shocked about?
What's his name? Oh yeah, John McGuinness.
Just John McGuinness.
Look,
what's his name?
I'm trying to.
What's
your
his
man.
name?
You know your man.
That guy. Yeah. You had Marco Bezzecchi. You had Peter Hickman. You had Valentino Rossi. You had Randy Mamola. Michael Dunlop.
Yeah,
there it is.
For the love of God.
And the greatest rider there, of course, Darren Binder.
Goat.
Oh,
Yeah.
Josh Brooks was there as well.
Oh yeah, your
And
man.
probably a few others that we didn't even clock. Just an unbelievable.
Ridiculous.
And obviously, what's his face? Mark Webber as well. Just an unbelievable list of riders. there to just do some promotion and ride some bikes around.
And this was at Silverstone, right?
Yeah.
These people were in our country, in one area.
And it was sunny as
And
well.
it was sunny.
Yeah.
Crazy, isn't it?
These things just don't happen. They just don't
I
happen.
know.
God has favourites. And everyone
Oh, yeah.
who was invited to go there is God's favourite. Like, it's just not
Yeah.
fair.
100%. I mean, there was a video earlier actually of, I can't remember who it was, but somebody was showing Franco Morbidelli and Bagnaia Peter Hickman's onboard TT lap.
John McGuinness. Just
That was it, John McGuinness.
your man.
Oh, yeah.
John
No, he wasn't. He was stood to the
Who?
side. He wasn't showing them.
John McGuinness was there. Peter
He was there.
Hickman, Josh Brooks,
But-
I think, was all standing around.
Yeah, there was still no, I don't know who was actually showing them it, but yeah, Franco Morbidelli and a lot were asking questions about like the TT and stuff, which I find really cool that they're
They're like aware of
interested
it.
in that
Yeah.
because it's a completely different
Yeah.
sport. And I mean, Pedro Costa said that Michael Dunlop's his hero.
I wish
which is
Pedro
just
was there
legendary.
because he would have loved that. All those
Yeah.
TT
Yeah.
riders being there.
He would Red Bull, though, isn't he?
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
So sad.
Yeah, it is. But oh yeah, just a fun little fact. Bezzecchi is the fourth VR46 Riders Academy rider to become a factory rider in MotoGP after Morbidelli, Bagnaia, and Marini.
That's cool. That's a cool
That
little
is
stat.
cool.
There's a legacy
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, but yeah, the Monster Energy thing is epic, and you don't see enough of it. You see like little things like Marc Marquez was with Daniel Ricciardo last week, and they're racing boats, and then he was with Red Bull
Yeah.
Racing as well. But you don't see a track day with every Red Bull athlete coming in and doing stuff like that. Absolutely epic.
And the thing is, like, Red Bull absolutely have the PR skills and the capability of doing so. They're always doing mad stuff.
Yeah.
Why?
I think that's why. I think it's because they're too busy doing a million and one other things, whereas Monster Energy have gone, let's just, It's
Yeah,
the
I think-
man, Stuart Higgs, who runs BSB, is who organised it.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Wow.
Absolute legend.
Yeah.
Um,
Props.
Yeah, a lot of BSP. And a guy I know, I'm not going to name him, got in trouble because he was going there to film some stuff, and he posted Valentino Rossi on Instagram when it was not meant to be posted. Because it was all, like I said, it was, like we've mentioned, it was very secret.
Yeah.
And yeah, the cat got let out of the bag a little bit there.
Oh dear.
But you know, Valentino Rossi, you're getting to film Valentino Rossi. I mean,
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah,
Like,
you're doing it.
I could not
Yeah,
keep that
100%.
quiet for a second longer than I had to. And probably not even that long.
no. But yeah, just epic by Monster. And yeah, really, really, really cool thing for them to do. And I hope we see more of it as well. I like to see the whole clash of worlds, the clash of the Titans, the TT riders hanging around with the GP riders and stuff. Because, and like that photo, there's a few of them, but the main photo that Michael Dunlop and Rossi posted of them, like Rossi and Michael, there's a photo of them two sat at the back of the pit. And the fact that Michael posted it and Rossi posted it, I was like, that is epic. Like,
Sick.
two of the great... Michael Dunlop is the greatest TT rider ever. Like, the stats back that up. Obviously, Rossi is very subjective of being the GOAT, but two of the most successful riders ever in their disciplines just stood together next to each other. Just crazy.
Love it. I love little nuggets like that. Really, really makes
Yeah.
a 3-week break in MotoGP just that little bit more engaging, shall we say.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have Assen this weekend, and I'm looking forward to it. I wouldn't be able to tell you who's going to win, though.
Well, you're going to have to. It's part
Yeah,
of the
we will.
podcast.
Yeah, quite literally, it's part of our job here.
Yeah.
I know, this is what I've got it on my other screen now, but... as in, I've got the predictions, but
Right.
I couldn't tell you anything about what I think's going to happen because it's Assen. I think, what was it, at 2018 we had 175 overtakes, and it was one of those mental races ever.
We'll be lucky to have about 10 in this era.
True.
Of GP. Let's
True.
Be real.
Yeah.
But Assen is the only track on the calendar that has been there since 1949. The only year we missed was the COVID year 2020. It's been there since the very first days when you had, God, I can't remember. Les Graham, there you go. Les Graham was riding around on Assen, and you're like, wow, 75, 76 years ago. It's still going.
So cool. Various iterations, but it's great. We love it. We love a bit of history. And
yeah, they do every year. They do a race of Assen, and somebody I know over the weekend ran a lap of Assen with a few other people they know, and they just get a load of people in, and you can just, as a member of the public, run a lap of Assen, which is pretty cool.
Couldn't be me.
No.
I run running myself, but yeah, fair play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not really a runner, but
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I know what you mean though. Like I don't have a clear favorite in my mind. You know, like it's not like Pecco at Magello or something. It's
It's gonna be interesting. I think.
I've just checked the weather forecast. It looks good. So
good.
No,
I'm very glad.
No left field rain predictions here.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, last year the winner was
Pecco
Bagnaia.
Yeah.
Of course.
And the year before that, Pecco Bagnaia.
Nice. And it had Bezzecchi second and Aleix third.
Well,
I don't think that means anything this year.
No, it doesn't
happen again.
No.
No. Right, should we get into the Meta 3 predictions then?
Well, are we going to discuss World Superbikes or anything? I mean, we can do.
Oh, yes. There is a bit of silly season going on.
We talked a bit about World Superbikes last week, I'm nearly sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
did
the Superbike
you?
silly season.
Sorry, when you just decided not to show up.
No, I was
did a podcast episode.
I was booked to not be here.
Booked
last
and busy.
Week. Yeah, I was just booked and busy. What you could do about it? Sorry, well, carry on then. Well, but then there is a little bit of top rack talk, isn't there? Talk rack.
Yeah.
Talk rack topping.
So his manager, that one. His manager Kenan Sofoglu has basically said that there is a potentiality that Top Rack could leave BMW a year early and go to MotoGP, or potentially Honda. Well, Honda MotoGP. That's potentially if Mir doesn't sign, who Mir is heavily rumoured to be re-signing with Honda because essentially no one else wants him, sadly.
That's so sad.
I think you just created a new word there.
What's
potentiality?
Potentiality.
Yeah. I would say potentiality. I don't know why. It works. It makes sense. Potentiality.
I mean, I know I'm getting you from context. Absolutely. But anyway.
Sorry. Carry on. I was just, that's all I got from that.
Great, thanks. But yeah, there's potential that Mir could re-sign with Honda for 2 more years. There's talk that Iannone and Top Rack could pair up at Honda World Superbike.
No.
Which is just mental. Again, it's all silly season. Please take it with a pinch of salt because... Yeah, I mean, the Sofoglu thing is legit about MotoGP and leaving BMW, but that's as far as the legitness goes. And then after that, it's just speculation, as always.
Well, surely the whole point of Top Rack leaving Yamaha and going to BMW and creating all this buzz around that, BMW said if they win a World Superbike title, they're totally inclined to start putting up a charge and a fight in MotoGP. But their main focus is on World Superbikes until they win a title. Surely this is the plan. Win it with Top Rack, 2027, new regulations, Top Rack as your rider, away you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's exactly it. I think it would be 2027 at the earliest.
Yeah.
Is Top Rack willing to wait that long?
I'd say so.
Yeah, he'd be quite old by that point. He'd be 29, 30.
I think he'd be up for it, but would
to go now.
Yeah, would you want those extra couple of years in MotoGP, and then if MotoGP BMW do come anyway to in 2027, do you jump back on them then after a couple of years with MotoGP experience?
I think, it's just my take on it, he didn't go with Yamaha when the option was there. Now, the bike's obviously not the best, so it's understandable why he decided not to do that, but surely the thought process is, if I'm not getting in with Yamaha, or I've decided not to go with Yamaha because I don't trust the process there, to go to BMW and World Superbikes knowing that what they've said and knowing that they want to put everything into World Superbikes until they win that title, and then they're willing to go and explore other options such as MotoGP. In my head, that's the most sensible option, to stick with them, be the person who wins that championship, because it's not guaranteed that he's got the championship in the bag this year. I mean, Mazzano a couple of weeks ago would show that he's definitely up for the fight this season, winning all 3 races and taking the lead of the championship, but Bulega and Batista are very, very close behind, so I think it would be premature to assume that he's going to win it this year, but surely he wants to be like a part of the journey and be that rider that not only wins the championship for BMW but then takes them into MotoGP as well. I don't think he has any sort of aspirations to be a MotoGP world champion. I think he's made that pretty clear, but to make history in a slightly different way, I think, is what he's sort of planning on doing.
Yeah.
Or just not be a part of it at all and just bring BMW up to the front and then maybe try again with another manufacturer, like, say, Honda in World Superbikes.
Yeah, I mean, he can do what he wants, really. He's top back, isn't he?
Do what he wants. He does what he wants.
Literally. He does what he wants.
I'm so glad I went on that whole big spiel.
Yeah. Just to be told that I could do what he wants.
Oh, well, it's top back, so you just do whatever.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you are right in what you say.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
But I think Toprak and BMW entering MotoGP with Toprak would be fantastic. Is Toprak willing to sacrifice years of his career to develop a bike when he could once again be the hero, go to Honda, get paid even more money, and be the hero and win on a Honda as well, and everyone looks at him like he's the god?
I don't think anyone... But this is the problem with Toprak being in World Superbikes, that he is by far the most talented motorbike rider of this generation. And your thoughts will always go to, Pecco Bagnaia, Jorge Martin, even Marc Marquez, before you think of Toprak, because it's just ingrained in everyone's heads to go, MotoGP is the number one, that's where you want to be. World Superbikes has always been seen as a step down, even though it's not. It's still a world championship. 99% of people think, well, it's not MotoGP, so...
Yeah. And the riders think that too, though.
Yeah.
It's wild, because I feel like, we're talking about this Ducati flattery in MotoGP. If you put Toprak, if someone just took a punt on Toprak on a Ducati, on a satellite Ducati, it'd be wild. I think he'd do mad stuff. It would be...
He'd make a mockery of everyone.
I think he would. He'd absolutely not be the worst performing Ducati on the grid. But yeah, it is. It's just this barrier between World Superbikes and MotoGP. It's crazy. To be honest, I think he could jump on MotoGP Honda and quite quickly be the best performing Honda.
Yeah, I'd back that. Easily.
Yeah. So does he want to do that? That would be...
But
that would be glory.
This is the problem with Toprak is, and he rode the Yamaha M1, didn't like it.
Yeah.
The difference between MotoGP, which is a full-bred race bike, as we know, and a World Superbike is the flex in the frame is the most important part of a superbike and as a super sport, because MotoGP bikes and Moto2 bikes are some of the most horrid bikes to ride. Just horrible. I've never ridden one, but obviously I'm going for feedback. Absolutely disgusting to ride. Not fun whatsoever. Toprak and his style works so well on a bike that gives him the ability to bend it into shapes it shouldn't be, and the flex in the frame gives him so much feel that he can do that. And and whereas you go to MotoGP, you have to ride it a completely different way. You got the carbon brakes, you got the harder frame. I mean, you can't. Marc Marquez obviously was able to do this a few years ago, of course, but you can't do what he does in World Superbikes on a MotoGP bike because it just doesn't work. It's a completely different language, and I don't think Toprak liked that about the M1, and that's why he went to BMW. Maybe Honda would be different in MotoGP, but is it worth the risk? Because the major point about all this is he won't be able to test that Honda MotoGP bike before he signs that contract. It will be a case of you sign the contract, then you test the bike. And if you don't like it, well, tough. You've just signed a 2-year contract with us, so you're going to ride that bike regardless.
Yeah.
Whereas if he could test it beforehand, he could go, yeah, you know what, I don't like it, I'm going to stay with BMW. But he can't because it's a different manufacturer. If you sign for Honda, maybe. Honda World Superbike, that is, maybe. But it's a risk, and after spending a year pretty glum and unhappy at Yamaha because the bike wasn't fast enough, he couldn't show his full potential, now he's on a bike where he can show exactly what he can do and be the hero at BMW as well. Would he once again want to risk all that to be potentially a backmarker in MotoGP on a bike that doesn't really allow him to ride the way he wants to?
I think that's maybe part of his worry. That we really don't know what Toprak would be like in MotoGP. And he probably knows himself. He's probably got that doubt that's sort of going, this is such a big change, and you don't usually see someone from World Superbikes going to MotoGP. It's usually the other way around. So that could be a big part of it. And that could also be maybe why there's not conversations from other teams to sign him in MotoGP. Because it's not the usual step or seen to be the norm. It's a massive gamble that, yeah, he's doing incredible things and has done for years in World Superbikes. I think it's pretty similar to why Honda didn't take the gamble with Jonathan Rea at the time when they had the opportunity to do it. They went with Marc Marquez. And obviously that turned out absolutely perfect for them. But, you know, there was an opportunity there and they went with someone else. So I think that's probably why we haven't seen it. Yamaha gave him the option. He sort of went, I'm not too sure. But there probably wasn't any other open doors in MotoGP at the time for him to maybe make the move, which is why BMW makes the most sense at the minute, because he could be a part of creating that MotoGP bike, and it would be basically made with the new regulations, but also fully around Toprak and what he would want in a MotoGP bike, which I would trust his opinion on how he would want a motorbike made. So that's why in my head it makes the most sense. If not, he's going to stay on World Superbikes and just continue moving manufacturers and doing the same over and over and over again as many times as he possibly can. That's the two options I see for him, to be honest.
I think he should stay in World Superbikes because, one, it's the best bike for him, as I've explained a minute ago. Two, he adds so much to that series. He brings crowds in. People watch Superbikes because of Toprak, and I just don't want him to lose himself in MotoGP for a move that may not be the best for him and what he wants. And to be the very best, you should ride a MotoGP because that's where the best are, is what some people would say. But I genuinely believe Toprak and the World Superbike are a match in heaven. Toprak likes riding bikes, and he likes riding them quite fast, and he likes being on the top step of the podium. And if he can ride a bike the way he likes to ride a bike, he's a very happy man. And I don't see him being that same happy man of doing stoppies over the finishing line because he's won a race in MotoGP on a Honda that not even Marc Marquez could tame.
That's exactly it. He's, I'd say he does have that similar sort of wrestling a bike into shape and doing crazy stuff that nobody else does. You know, similar to Marc Marquez. I'm not saying they ride a bike in the same way, but they've got a very aggressive riding style. And potentially, if the only door that is open to Toprak at the moment in MotoGP would be a Honda, well, I mean, Mark's just left the Honda because it just he couldn't do anything with it. Could not make it work with his aggressive riding style. He crashed it so many times. So yeah, I think the right move for now is to stay in World Superbikes till 2027, maybe win a couple of titles on that BMW, and then say he gets this year's title and he gets next year's title. I think BMW would be like, right, okay, let's really seriously consider a 2027 entry into MotoGP, and we want you on the bike, and we want you to help be a key figure in developing it and getting it all set up. So, and I think by that point, Toprak will have achieved probably all that he would maybe have wanted to in terms of titles and status and really proving himself as a rider. And then if he can lead a successful entry for BMW and a new manufacturer in MotoGP and be like, look, I made this happen. Didn't necessarily win any races on it, but it's a competitive bike, or it's certainly not a pile of shit. It's gonna make a that's a great CV. That's something you can look back on with a lot of pride, I think, because you could probably say in 10 years' time that BMW's entry into MotoGP wouldn't have happened without Toprak.
Yeah, I think that's a big thing. I think unless he wants to go and win more Superbike titles than Jonathan Rea, which at the minute is quite a mammoth task, I don't think that's on the cards for him, unless that's where his goalposts are. Otherwise, when you look at how we speak about Alicia Spargaro, who managed to bring Aprilia to the front and be a race-winning bike, imagine bringing a whole new manufacturer into MotoGP. And if he can do that and get the bike up to the front, you've achieved GOAT status automatically.
Yeah, for sure.
Already he is in that conversation of alien riders, but we don't mention him week in, week out, because even we're sort of just solely thinking
he's
about
not done it in MotoGP.
You subconsciously just think that way, but he is one of those alien riders that week in, week out we talk about. And if he could do that, doesn't matter how many championships you've won in whatever class, that's pretty unbelievable to be able to do something like that. So I mean, it would probably be the only time it would ever happen too. So if I was Toprak, that's where my sights would be set, with BMW and putting the full trust and working together to get the best possible bike, because the new regulations are there to be tested, to try it out. What other opportunity are you going to get by signing with BMW 2 years before new MotoGP regulations come in? And Dorna have sort of said, we will probably let a manufacturer in, because BMW aren't the only ones that have made noises about wanting to join MotoGP. And if Dorna are on board with it, this is as good a time as any.
The stars are aligning.
Literally.
Let's make it happen.
Literally. See if I've just spoke about this whole time and he goes and moves to Honda World Superbikes or something and be like, I'm sick of this.
On, man.
I'm so sick of this.
I know. Always the way. Before we go on to predictions, I wanted to mention the Junior GP races at... Where is it? Portimao, over the weekend. So, firstly, I want to give a big shout out to Australian Archie McDonald, who took his first win in the Stock 1000 Championship. Day after his birthday, may I add. He got pole on his birthday.
Hell yeah.
He's good friends with a lot of riders in there. Australian. Very, very impressive ride by him. In the Moto3 class, however, we saw Guido Pini, who won the European Talent Cup 2 years ago and got held back because of age, and then battled out with another ex-champion, Maximo Quiles.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Quiles who won his second European Talent Cup championship a couple of years ago. Pini has been injured all year long and hasn't been able to race, obviously, because of that. Made his debut this weekend, got pole position, then got beaten to the line by about half a centimetre by the now championship leader Alvaro Carpe on his debut, and then went and won the second race. He's ninth in the championship now with 45 points, with a 45 deficit to first after 2 races.
That's pretty solid.
He is Italian, and he got on the podium in the last year in the Red Bull Rookies as well. He's doing quite well in the Rookies this year, shall we say, when he could ride, because he's been injured, like I said. But we say about riders to watch, he is one to watch. He is exceptional. Another shout out to Irishman Casey O'Gorman.
Yeah.
Who got his debut podium this weekend as well.
Love to see it.
And his teammate, who I just mentioned, Maximo Quiles, who's also a rookie in the championship, got a podium as well. In the second race, it was Pini who won and Quiles second. And they're both rookies, both come up from the European Talent Cup in their debut season, and they've both won races or got on the podium in a 1-2, showing the level of talent that's coming up right now, which is obscene.
Future's bright.
Alvaro Carpe won his second ever race and now leads the championship in Moto3, and he's looking very good in the rookies as well this year. In Moto2, it was Roberto Garcia who did the double. He's leading the championship at the moment for the Fantic squad. So could be an interesting shout for next year, potentially, with Matteo Casadei in second and Alberto Sura in third.
Nice.
So it was pretty good. Pretty good weekend of racing, to be honest. So, yeah, that was the roundup of the Junior GP Championship. Marco Morelli as well for the MLAV squad. Argentine, he's leading the championship by 4 points. Morelli is an exceptional talent as well and should really be in the Junior GP, but money and things have held him back. So, yeah, but it'd be good. Very excited for a few of those riders to see their careers blossom, especially Pini and Quiles. Quiles is managed by the Marquez brothers.
Oh, really?
That vertical thing, yeah.
That'll do it.
He's a protege and is part of the vertical management group.
Excellent.
Yeah. So
look forward to seeing these names just kind of start creeping onto our TV screens more frequently.
Yeah, very, very pleased for Casey O'Gorman. Yep. I mean, everything he touches turns to gold, it seems. And the podium in his first year at Junior GP, very, very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Moto3 Assen pole position, please, Cameron.
Oh, just straight in like that. Woo.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's obvious. Let's be real.
Goodness me. Yeah. Oh. I don't want to say Alonso, but it's foolish. It's so foolish to not say Alonso. So I'm gonna say, well, actually, hold on. Whoa.
Holding on.
Vire in his home race.
Oh, good shout. I didn't even think of Vire.
Thank you very much.
Nice. And Lauren?
Alonso.
Nice. I've also gone for Alonso.
Come on.
No, I am supporting Vire, just not for pole position.
Right then.
Okay. Right, third, I've gone with Holgado. Lauren, third, please.
I've also gone Holgado.
Nice. Well, that's how you'll secure the points. And
oh, right.
Cameron, third, please.
Is anyone injured?
No, not that I know of at the moment.
We could have a midweek training crash or something.
Yeah.
Dennis Onchu's the only one I can think of, but that's obviously...
Yeah.
Who?
No, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, Dennis Onchu.
Oh, yeah, he's replaced by Marcel Schrotter.
Wow. Schrotter makes a return to Moto2.
I know, but Ben Schneider's back as well.
Didn't know he was aware.
Yeah, he was replaced by Munoz, wasn't he? And Munoz topped the session, or at least was in the top 3.
It was that long ago.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember what I had for dinner yesterday, so, you know.
Fair play.
Yeah,
Fair play.
Same. More, third. Let's have a little David Munoz, please.
Nice. I like it.
Woke up and chose violence, I see.
Yeah.
Well, Assen breeds violence. That's chicane. Come on.
David Munoz breeds violence.
Yes.
He does. Didn't he knock off Mercia the other year?
Yeah, and I think
well?
he took out McPhee as well, like a year before that. It's just, yeah. This is just his hunting ground, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Third place.
Okay, right, and Lauren third, please.
I already said Holgado.
Wait, yeah. Sorry, second place, Lauren.
Controversially, I've gone with David Alonso.
Oh, okay. I've got Ortola, who was at the F1 at the weekend with Lando Norris. That was quite a nice little photo I saw because he's sponsored by Quadrant.
Yay! I seen him holding Lando's P2 trophy.
Oh, I didn't see that. That's sweet. I like that.
I think the
Nice.
caption was like, "I'm going to look after this for you if you don't mind."
Oh.
Sort of thing.
Nice.
There's one of Lando absolutely sprinting at Ortola, which is quite a nice
Oh,
one.
I didn't see that one. So
Yeah.
there you go.
And Cameron second, please.
Oh,
Via.
no, Alonso.
Oh.
Yeah.
We're
I
on
love-
the same vibe.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm gonna put for the win, but I just love touting for the home runners, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go against the grain and go Alonso. And you two have gone Via by any chance?
Oh, for the win?
yes,
I was like,
for the win.
we've literally
Yeah.
just both picked Alonso. I was like, what are you
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah.
Sorry, I've got Alonso to win.
Okay, yeah, Vire. So
Nice for both of you.
Please.
Perfect. Right, Moto 2 pole position, please.
Who are you asking?
I haven't thought this far ahead.
I'm going to
Neither
go
have I.
Cameron.
Cameron again.
We got pole last year. Do we know?
Good question.
I don't think it matters. It was probably a Costa or something.
Oh,
Pole,
it was Alonso Lopez.
was it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Q2. No, it wasn't. It was Canet.
Oh.
No, wait, I'm looking at Magello. Sorry. Yeah, a Lopez, Dixon, then Agura.
Was it?
Dixon won.
He did,
Mhm.
yeah. Oh,
Oh.
gee, I really don't know. This is tough.
And O'Connor second and Pedro third last year.
Let's have Lopez for pole.
Okay. We like consistency. Okay. I'm going to go pole with Agura.
I did think Agura.
And Lauren?
Garcia.
I was thinking Garcia as well, to be fair.
It's pretty good this year,
Yeah.
Moto 2. It's anyone's
It is.
game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to pick. I don't really know. It's not who I thought was going to be sort of at the front this year.
No,
No.
absolutely not. No.
Asshole.
No, I would not have pipped Joe Roberts to have the season he did.
I mean, I'm here for
Respectfully.
it. I'm
Yeah.
loving it. I think he's been
Me
great
too.
so far.
What is a kilometre, everybody? No idea. Right. Third place, I have actually gone Joe Roberts.
Oh, fun.
Cameron?
Give me Manu.
Manuel Gonzalez. Nice. Who, a journalist the other day said that he'd done nothing in Moto 2 in regards to scrapping the World Supersport 300 class, which I thought was quite ironic.
What?
Yeah. So that's one way to get back at your haters, if winning potentially this weekend or getting on the podium at least.
I mean, he was second in Magello.
Yeah.
Honestly. What
Yeah,
a
mad.
fuck on. Anyway.
Yeah. Lauren, third place, please.
Jake Dixon.
Nice. I like it. I've gone Garcia second. What?
Yeah.
Cameron clearly had things to say about that, but
Did you? Can't say something, Cameron. I wasn't
what?
looking
What?
at you.
Well, I would love
Apparently-
to. I'd love to see Dixon back on the podium, but I mean, it's not working for him yet.
He's already been on the podium this season.
Yeah, he was at Catalonia.
It's not bad. Listen. You guys are crazy. So, for me, for second place, Garcia.
Copy of me, are we, Sunshine?
No, I'm not.
I've gone Garcia as well. And Lauren?
Aaron Canet, please.
Nice. He does love that second place, to be fair. And Dixon loves third, so it's a happy marriage.
Look, it's an easy pick, okay?
Yeah, this is a 2023 podium you're going for here.
Yeah. Where's Acosta?
You mean Acosta can't win it? What?
I've got Agura to win. Lauren, please.
Joe Roberts, please.
Nice. Okay.
Putting faith in him.
And then you are. Well, it's a full race, so he's going to struggle because he only wins half races, apparently.
Whoa. It's a coincidence that it's happened twice, right? But it has to change at some point. You can't rely on shortened races. So
true.
I think Assen is a good track to give it a go.
Listen,
yeah.
If Roberts gets up to MotoGP, he's going to dominate the sprint races.
Oh, yeah.
You know it.
Oh, yeah. They'll love him.
He will win them all.
For me, for a win, I want to go for Agura as well because he was rather good last year and he's in good form. So I think I shall. Agura, please.
Great.
I'd like to confirm an Agura, please.
Nice.
Please, Brev.
Right.
Anyway.
Yes, Brev. One Fanta Light, please, Brev.
Brev. Fanta Light, Brev.
Thank you, Brev.
Cheers, Brev. Right, anyway, MotoGP poll, I've gone predictable with Martin. Cameron, please.
Let's get wild. Let's say Pedro.
Oh!
Oh!
No!
Is that you going to go for,
I
Lauren?
wanted to, but I'm not going to do it now.
Oh.
It's really pissed me off.
Oh, terribly sorry. Bloody hell.
He's not sorry.
I'm not.
Sorry, not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry.
God, that really narrows my choices. I'll go for Marc Marquez then instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I've been really boring. Sprint race winner Martin. Lauren, please.
I'd like it to be someone else for once. I'm not gonna lie. But I can't really think who else. Assen. It's been 3 weeks, and this is the issue. I don't really know where
everyone's at.
What's gonna happen?
Where they at? Dope.
Yeah.
Vine reference. I'm old as hell. Let's go. Anyway, moving on.
Oh, yeah. No,
come on.
Yeah.
Do you not remember Vine?
Yeah, I do,
Come on.
and I remember what you're talking about, but I'm not.
Oh, good.
Like,
I'm glad I'm
I
not
don't know
the
how you want me to react to that.
Oh, no, it's fine. I was just singing, singing a beautiful song.
Okay.
So anyway.
Right, Moto2 sprint.
So I'm also going to go with Jorge Martin just to end this conversation.
Thanks for being original. And Cameron, please.
Sprint winner.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go Mark then. Just for something that's not what you said.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, MotoGP third place, Lauren, please.
Martin.
Okay. Interesting. Cameron.
Mark.
Okay.
Please.
I have gone Bastianini. And then I'm going to continue in second with Martin.
Oh,
right.
Just take that liberty.
Why don't you? Yeah.
Yeah, fine. Who's your winner?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Do you want us to just stop now? Or?
What is going on?
I don't know. We're just hostile tonight. It's just one of them.
You are. Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right,
well.
Cameron, please.
Oh, never mind.
I didn't even ask you, Lauren.
I was just going to be like, well, I'll just go ahead then, but apparently not.
No,
Right, go on then.
No,
Come on.
no. You've already
Lauren,
asked
be my
Cameron.
guest. Be my guest, darling.
No, genuinely.
Right.
Being stubborn now.
Right, okay. Well, what did I say third? Mark. Second,
Mark, yeah.
I'll have Pecco.
Oh,
Okay. And finally, Lauren.
I'm going to go with Mark Marquez. Thanks for asking.
Okay. You're very welcome. I'm going to stick with you for the winner then.
Yeah.
Oh, what a privilege. Wow.
Well, I'm going to go a little bit left field and pick Pedro Acosta for the win.
Oh,
Ooh, that'd be
interesting. Cameron.
I'm going to go a little left field and say Anaya.
Oh.
I'm not going to be left field, but if I can say I predicted it first time, then I'll be happy and say Marc Marquez. So I can be like, I
Listen.
predicted his first win.
I think he's not got the win until we're on a
Yeah.
left-hand track. It's just
I'm saving
Which
it
is
for
next
next
time
week.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saving it.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
predicted him a few too many times already this
Yes.
season, and I'm just
Yeah,
like, look,
same.
you know what? At this stage, I'll just leave it till next week.
Yeah, it is next week as well, isn't it? It's double back to back.
Yeah, and then we have another 3 weeks off. Funnily
And then
enough.
we're at Silverstone.
yeah. Let's go.
Party time. Excellent. Yeah. Right. Yeah, I've got Marquez. I think that's everything. We're all getting a bit delusional now.
I think that's
Wait.
everything motor racing.
That is
Oh.
what.
I thought that's what you were going to say, so I stole it.
No. Very good. Well done.
That was
I'm
good.
impressed.
I think when I'm editing that, I'm just gonna cut it right there. So you said that.
Just mic drop.
Yeah.
Oh my
Mic
gosh.
drop.
What?
You actually should. A pigeon has just flew onto my windowsill.
Oh wow.
Sorry,
Everybody.
Just caught me off. Sorry, everybody
pigeon.
just caught me off guard there.
Did they get them in
What
Northern
is
Ireland?
that?
Like,
Yeah, but I've never seen one on my windowsill before.
well,
Hmm.
listen. There's a first time for everything, I suppose.
He's really just chilling.
Feed
yeah,
it.
you definitely should just cut the
Yeah. Feed it. Pet pigeon.
done.
Yeah.
Chilling like a snowman.
What?
What?
What are you on about?
What are you
Breath.
on about?
Anyway,
Fanta
are
like
we
Anyway.
finished?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
I'm gonna
lost my
stop
mouse on the
recording,
screen.
I suppose.